Hello, all you hot listeners. This is episode 21 of Husband and Wife Talks. Thank you all for being here again on this fine Tuesday. Marta and I get down to business, talking about the important stuff like National Nut Day that occurs today, along with a funny story that Marta wanted to share about her listening to the radio and this crazy story about this crazy lady getting angry about this nonsense. So stay tuned for that, along with we are talking about defining partnership in a relationship as well. We touch on some serious topics, and then we branch off talking about strong, independent woman classes and things of that nature, and English as well. So this is going to be a fun episode. Stay tuned. We think you'll enjoy it. Hey, Marta.
Hi.
We're here again.
Just like every day, every week.
Every what day?
Sunday or Monday.
No, well, we release on Tuesdays, so it's every Tuesday.
Well, we release Tuesday, but we don't know when they're listening.
That's a good point. So you're on our time. It's a Monday for us. October 22nd.
Yep.
We're going to go into the national holidays that, since we're going to do the recurring thing, because there's always national holidays basically every day. So we figured there's only 2 this day, so it's kind of unfortunate. But it's National Color Day. I mean, who doesn't like colors? And then also National Nut Day.
Wow. That's very interesting.
Do you have anything to share with the folks at home, Marta, besides interesting?
Well, it's hard to imagine a world without color. That's all I have to say about that.
Wow, very astute.
Think about
very
a
profound.
Late, cool autumn morning where hopefully there are pretty leaves of all different colors. But without color, everything just black and white. Who would care about fall and leaf fall down? Actually, have you heard that joke? I've probably told you, but how in a bunch of other countries they call the season autumn, or like a variation of autumn. And then it's like, in America, we call it fall because leaves fall down.
I guess the assumption is that we're dumb.
I mean, it's just a joke, but yeah, I think so.
Also, is it really National Color Day? Because I look at this site and it says, within our research, we were unable to find the creator of National Color Day. It just magically appeared because we just don't have enough holidays. They're like, why not just celebrate colors?
Well, nationaldaycalendar.com says so I guess that's the source we're going by.
Yeah.
But then National Nut Day, unless you had something else about Color Day.
Nope, nothing else. Colors are nice. We all use colors and see colors. They're beautiful.
And if you're colorblind, colors aren't that beautiful. You're not missing out too much.
I mean, they still see color. It's just certain shades they don't see.
That's true.
Or they mix up.
So yeah, you are missing out, and I'm sorry.
Can you imagine, like, they just see a whole different world? Like, if they're colorblind?
I knew someone on my old project at work that was colorblind.
I think they have,
very colorblind.
I feel like they have colorblind glasses so you can understand,
like,
what they're seeing. Because there's different types of color blindness, from what I know.
That's true. It's more common in men, too.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learning something
Maybe
new
it's a
here,
certain
folks.
type that's more common in men, but I definitely remember learning about how, in general, there are more men, or are, that are colorblind. But yeah, National Nut Day is not about the crazy neighbor that lives down the street. It's a food holiday that celebrates a healthy and nutritious snack. All about nuts. Macadamia nuts, peanuts, almonds, pecans.
Keep going. Pistachios.
There's so pistachios.
So since
wow.
In celebration of National Nut Day, we should list what's your favorite nut?
My favorite nut? I think it depends. So bear with me here.
Oh man, we're going deep. A deep dive into nuts.
Wow, you sound like an employee of a consulting firm. One of their favorite words is deep dive. Like, no matter what kind of meeting it is, even if you're not actually doing a deep dive, they're like, we're going to do a deep dive on analytics today. Like, I don't really think this is a deep dive. I think we're just going to touch on it, and then we're going to move on. It's definitely a deep dive. Okay.
So what would you rather them calling a skimming?
No, it's just annoying because I'm sure a lot of industries have their own lingo, but in consulting, especially at my company, it feels like everyone uses these same 10 phrases about buzzwords, and people just don't know. People that aren't in that culture don't know what you're talking about. Like, you say ping me, and then other people might be like, what's a ping? But a ping is just an I am on our Skype for business system that you can I am someone. But that, and then deep dive, and there's different ones. I could do a whole podcast on the culture of consulting. But
yeah, that is funny how terminology of certain companies sort of differ, and you could be talking one company language this way, and then if you go into a different company, it's completely different. But
Absolutely.
Back to nuts, the more important thing.
Back to nuts. So I think just eating raw as a snack, my number one was always cashews, unsalted. Because salted just gets to be too much. But I do like almonds because I know almonds are good for you. Mm-hmm. But I think
Ever try the flavored almonds? Whether they're chocolate or
I don't
cinnamon.
think so.
Tasty. I used to have my mom used to buy them when I was in high school.
I'll have to try them. But yeah, I think cashews number one, almonds number two. In terms of baking, though, I'm thinking macadamia at the top. Why?
Over
what
pecan?
do I put macadamia in? Macadamia white chocolate cookies. Yum. Pecan, though, good point. I do make
You make that more often than white macadamia.
Killer pecan pie every year for Thanksgiving. This year will be no different, as long as I have the ingredients.
Look out for a video.
Yeah, sure. See about that. Let's see what other kind of nuts there are. Peanuts. I mean, peanuts are good in peanut butter, but that's not really eating the nut. I like crunchy peanut butter.
Honey roasted peanuts are good.
Yeah, I don't really do flavored nuts, though. I just commit to the original.
You like plain good old nuts.
Yeah. Good old plain nuts. Nothing mixed in them. Just the originals.
What are addicting are pistachios.
Yeah? Oh, I do like pistachio gelato. Oh, my gosh. From Italy. So good.
Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about that when we talked about our honeymoon. Go back to episode 9 or 10 when we were talking about Italy honeymoon.
I miss Italy.
We're going back, so that's exciting.
Woo!
Yeah.
You won't say when
because
it's a surprise.
Yeah. Pistachios are great. It's just frustrating to deal with the shells, so you have to have one.
What a first world problem.
You have one container that holds the shell or the pistachios, and then one that's going to hold the shells to throw away later. Just one random little thing that knocks pistachios down a little bit in my book. I feel like just a plain old snack, I'll gravitate towards what you said, almonds or cashews.
May I read a little bit from nationaldaycalendar.com about nuts?
Of course, baby. I always like hearing about nuts.
Great. Sounds good.
We are children.
We are adults. Several studies, and I quote this straight from the website, so I am citing my sources. Several studies have shown that those who consume nuts on a regular basis are less likely to suffer from coronary heart disease. It was in 1993 that nuts were first linked to protection against coronary heart disease. Since that time, many clinical trials have found that consumption of various nuts, such as almonds and walnuts, can lower serum LDL cholesterol concentrations. I guess LDL is the bad type of cholesterol, if lowering it is a good thing. Next paragraph. One study has shown that people who ate nuts lived 2 to 3 years longer than those who did not. Those who are consuming nuts may have been eating less junk food, leading to a longer lifespan.
So, people, what this shows you is to grab them nuts and shove them into your mouth. That's basically what this is saying.
You're right.
Am I
Absolutely.
Right? Well, I was just thinking, though, we can't really count peanuts as nuts because we've learned this from Whole30 that they're actually legumes, right?
Yes. Although, to your point, Saturday, August 3rd, is actually National Grab Some Nuts Day in America. So that's just one day to celebrate all the types of peanuts, almonds, all nuts, really.
But make sure you grab them. What's the difference between that and National Nut Day?
Because maybe National Grab Some Nuts Day is really encouraging folks to grab some and then eat them, whereas maybe National Nut Day is more focused
awareness.
On... Yeah, exactly. Awareness of nuts, understanding their health. See, we just learned that eating nuts can potentially extend someone's lifespan.
Wow.
So, that's crazy.
Very crazy.
And if you're listening, well, too bad you're not listening today because we release tomorrow. But maybe next year on October 22nd, use hashtag National Nut Day to post on social media. What Wow, I think that's enough about the National Nut Day. Have
Sure.
we overextended its welcome? Has National Nut Day overextended its welcome on our podcast?
Nah.
No?
Never.
I wish we
Never-
were recording
not.
tomorrow because tomorrow there's a whole slew of national days.
Should we just list off a few if you're listening to this podcast right on Tuesday?
Oh, that's true, because then it'll be more relevant.
Yeah.
All right, should I just keep going with it, or would you like to go?
With what? Just
National days.
Just list off the interesting ones because I see that there's a lot.
Okay, National iPod Day.
Oh, yeah.
National Boston Cream Pie Day.
Nah.
National Mole Day. I'm pretty sure it's
like a
mole.
like an animal or mole like on your face.
Mole as in Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd.
Oh, dang. Swerve right there. I was expecting one thing and it's completely different. Another.
A mole is a unit used in chemistry to express amounts of a chemical substance, if you're not a big chemistry person.
So I guess it's iPod Day just because it was introduced back on the 23rd of 2001, it's stating.
Wow.
So
2001 is when iPods were created?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get an iPod in 2001.
I had one of those. I don't think it was
Mommy,
2001, but
where was my iPod when I was 7? All the kids these days at 4 years old got their own iPads, iPhones.
throw it back to when it was just a circular wheel. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The circular wheel with the button in the middle.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had the black and red one. Even though I think they got recalled because if you put it too loud, it would actually. Study shows that it would mess up your hearing.
Well, how about people learn to control the volume?
My brother didn't. He blared. That's the thing that I never got with certain people, that they could listen to music so loud. Especially my brother. No offense, Dave. But he would sleep with them with music playing. It's so loud. I was like, how is that even possible? I just don't think that I would never be able to fall asleep with music blaring, but that's just me.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, to be honest.
Okay. Well, maybe in the future, should we just do the Tuesday holiday because that's when it releases, or should we?
We can do that, or we can do Monday and Tuesday, or we can just pick the most interesting of that week.
Oh, now we're cooking with gas, folks. We gotta pick.
And
our favorites.
speaking of most interesting, Friday is National Breadstick Day. So October 26th.
Head over to Olive Garden.
Head to somewhere. Olive Garden's got some good breadsticks, I think. I mean, I don't really eat there that often. I can't even say the last time I did eat there, so just find some good breadsticks somewhere. Ooh, yum. This is a day to enjoy those tender, delicious, dunkable pieces of pure enjoyment. Whoever wrote that statement really, really likes breadsticks.
Who doesn't like breadsticks?
People that are trying to limit their carbs. It sounded really nerdy. Okay. Anywho.
Should we move on to the main topic?
The
of
main
evening?
topic isn't just the National Day.
No, it's not.
That's shocking.
You gotta do a quick 180 from being goofy talking about nuts to now more serious topic. Since this past weekend. Well, actually, should we talk about what we've been up to since we recorded episode 20?
Sure. Also, I thought of something funny that I heard on the radio today,
Okay.
and I really wanted to pass it on.
Share it to all the hot listeners and me, because I haven't heard this yet.
Okay. So I listened to this country radio station because
Country.
I don't know. I like country because it feels calming and the lyrics aren't as annoying.
When I taste tequila.
Okay, Tequila by Dan and Shay is on the radio all the time, so I can understand how that would be annoying. But in general, I feel like the lyrics are more heartfelt than some of the pop songs, and I just enjoy it. So I listen to country sometimes on my commute, and I listen to, I think 106.7 is the station in Denver that I listen to. But anyway, so it's like a normal radio show where they talk at some point in between, like when they play songs, the morning show, and the female host was talking about how it was her son's birthday and he wanted a Fortnite cake for his birthday. That was the only thing he wanted. And she went to a bunch of different stores and she got the quote that the cake was going to cost $150. And she was like, I don't want to pay $150 for a 9-year-old or however old he was.
She doesn't love her child.
We're getting there. This made me, I was like, are you kidding me? So I'm going to continue the story. It won't be long. So anyway, she realized that it was $150 to buy the cake, and she didn't want to pay that, so she decided she would make it herself. And she was talking about how she made this cake herself to her co-host on the radio show, and he was like, oh, that's like really cool and creative and whatever. And then suddenly they cut to this lady that called into the radio station, and I thought she was joking. I still do not know if she's serious. And maybe anyone listening agrees with her. I was shocked. She was like, I can't believe your son asked for one thing for his birthday. All he wanted was a Fortnite cake, and you couldn't even get him that. And you had to go and make it because you couldn't pay $150 to get it for him. And I'm sitting in the car like,
I love
is this girl serious?
I love the voice changes for the caller in this situation. I love that.
She sounded like such a brat. Excuse me, but she was talking about how...
Not the worst B word you could use.
That is true. But then the lady, the radio show host was like, okay, well, let me, counter that. And the girl was like, let me finish. So then she just kept saying her whatever she was talking about. And she was like, so then the radio co-host goes, you kind of sound like someone who's never heard the answer no, and you kind of sound like someone who feels like the universe owes her something. I was like, oh, this radio co-host just got you, lady. And she was like, I mean, yeah, when I wanted something, my parents were respectful and got it for me. I was like, are you kidding? So every time you said you wanted something, your parents were like, yes, princess, here's your horse. Princess, here is your Mercedes, the most expensive one. Like, she said every time she wanted something, her parents got it for her because they were respectful and respected her wants. That's not the definition of respect. Respect is not whenever you want something, you get it. Especially not from your parents. That is not
really, it doesn't sound like the definition of parenting either.
Yeah. So then the woman was like accusing this other, not accusing, but she was saying how the lady calling in was being really rude and disrespectful, and how she sounds honestly like she's never heard the answer no or the word no in her life. And then the guy, the male co-host, jumped in. He was like, yeah, you're being really rude and disrespectful. And then it kind of just dropped off. But I didn't even think that was real. Like, at first, they do a lot of prank calls on the radio, those morning radio shows. So I didn't think that was legitimate. But I think it was, because both co-hosts were pretty upset, and they were like, oh, people like this are probably going to stop listening to our show because I made a cake. And and then she went on about...
I feel like a mom making a cake for their kid that she puts the effort into like decorating it and baking it, kind of shows more love than just sending out $150 to make a cake.
I agree, and that actually goes on to my next thing that I was going to say really quickly. So then the caller goes on and starts hating on people that use...
This thing is still going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
it might have been a little out of order because I can't remember everything chronologically. But the caller then mentioned that people that use Etsy or Google or YouTube or the internet to try to figure something out, that's not the right way to do it. If your child wants something, you should get it for them. And I was like, are you serious? So crafting and doing things by yourself is wrong now?
I can understand why you think this was like a character that called in
It didn't sound real. The way she was talking, first of all, even if her points weren't as drastic as my opinion was, I thought they were very drastic, but she was also very rude. She was accusing the other lady of being a bad mom. By the end of it,
sounds like her parents weren't that great.
Yeah, by the end of it, she was like, honestly, you're not such a good mom. And then the guy co-host jumps in. He was like, I would have done the same thing. And then she's like, well, it sounds like you're not a good dad. You're not a good dad either. I was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I forgot to tell you this earlier, but
I think it's
little tidbit.
It's a combination, and like if your kid is probably doing well in school or like being respectful and things of that nature, like it's a good kid, doesn't ask for much, then it's okay to do stuff like that. But I don't think it's necessary that you have to spend, because some people just don't have the means to do that. So I feel like putting in the effort shows love more than just spending money, right?
I agree. But even if you have the money and you just don't want to spend it. Oh, yeah. And then the caller also accused the woman of, oh, you probably didn't want to spend $150 on his cake, but you probably spent the money you didn't spend on the cake on a blouse for his birthday party. She's the mom. She can do whatever she wants with the money. She made her son the cake he wanted, and that's that.
This lady doesn't sound real. There's probably real people like that, but I wouldn't expect them to call into a radio show specifically about getting angry over a Fortnite cake.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like, though, we hear more about those crazy people than normal people, because a normal person like me or you isn't going to call in and say something positive and nice. We're just going to sit there and be like, sit there in our car or at work, wherever we're listening, and acknowledge that what the woman did for her son was nice. We're not going to call in and start gushing about how great it was, whereas people that are that negative are going to start calling in and doing exactly what she did.
It's always the negative people that are brought to attention. I mean, that's it happens all the time with Twitter, where you can get a lot of positive feedback, but everyone focuses on the negative. And so it could just be a negative of minority, or like YouTube comments and things of that nature. Because I think as humans, we like to focus more on the negativity than the positivity for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I don't know. But that was a story from today.
Very interesting. And I'm sure the producer was hearing this lady prior to getting on the radio show, and he or she was probably like, yeah, we need to put this lady on. It's going to do great ratings-wise, just because, I mean, they do a lot of filtering, and they'll probably send on anything that stirs anything up, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. Make it interesting for folks.
I mean, that's why they do those prank calls and things of that nature. Makes things more interesting.
Definitely makes it entertaining.
So, is that it to the story? Fantastic story.
I mean, there was probably more that I forgot, but that's all that I'm going to share at this time so that I don't bore people with 20 minutes of a story.
You're never boring, baby.
Aw, thank you.
What you looking up?
Just my email got logged out, which is really convenient, so I was logging back in.
So I guess before we hop into the main thing, even though I thought we were about to, but we watched more Heart of Dixie.
Oh, I love that show.
Marta got me watching it now, and it's a cute little small town show.
Honestly, and you can disagree with me if you would like, but I don't think you will, because you've mentioned this first, so I'm really just reiterating your opinion anyway. But this show, in my opinion, if you like Gilmore Girls, you would like it, because it's also set in a small town, and it also has those type of like love triangles, and everybody knows each other, and everyone's in each other's business.
Goodness, I don't know why I watch. I feel like I need to watch these shows. I just get so frustrated when it's like clearly they're trying to extend out the certain relationship that you want the main characters to be in.
Yeah.
But they have to fill 22 episodes of a season, so they have to figure out ways to extend it out further, and it's just so frustrating, especially when you see like one of the main characters do something like completely dumb and doesn't make any sense. Like they're pining over for this person for the longest time, and they have the option, but they're like, no, we need to wait because you don't have enough experience because you just came out of a long-term relationship thing.
Okay, let's not give too many spoilers.
It's just, I'm giving a hypothetical, so to speak.
Hypothetical, yeah.
It's just frustrating because they just make choices that probably, I feel like real life people probably wouldn't make those sometimes. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? I'm only 25. Oh, I'm 25.
Oh, it sounds weird.
Yeah.
I forgot how old you were.
Yeah. So
old. Anyway.
Thanks, babe. Moving on to the main event this evening, we're actually going to transition to a serious topic, going back to the Well from This Day Forward book that we got for our wedding, and we're just going to pull a topic from it, just because we did that bonus episode and we've already talked about our lives. In between, there's not much going on, so we sort of just wanted to pull something out and have a discussion about it. You did a wonderful job reading it last time. You want to read it this time, my love?
Sure. So, do I read both of those?
Yeah. It's a whole thing. But I split it up so it's easier to read.
Okay, so I should read everything together.
Yeah, you read everything.
The title is Defining Partnership. When you marry, people's assumptions about, quote, coupledom kick in full force. Some will expect the two of you to be practically joined at the hip, rarely making plans apart. Others will complain if you don't spend enough time with them, separate from your spouse. The dilemma hits at the root question of who you are separately and together in your marriage, how you create your identity as an individual within a union. You and your partner have your own expectations about partnership. Perhaps one of you insists on time alone with friends and the other feels left out. The balance here must change as your needs change. If too much separate socializing is going on, it could be a sign that one of you is feeling overwhelmed by the, quote, together forever, end quote, aspects of marriage. This is indeed a scary promise that we make and a difficult one to contemplate. Conversely, if your friends never see you apart from each other, perhaps you need to consider why it seems so important to show up in the world as a couple.
You have any initial thoughts?
I guess my initial thoughts would just be thinking about couples I know, not necessarily married couples, since not a lot of our friends are married, and the married friends we do have, I don't see on a regular basis. But it makes me think about the different types of couples, because I do know people that are more like attached at the hip kind of, and then I know people where each person seems to be really independent and they're not codependent. That's not a good word. But you know what I mean. They're not as together as often. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if this is saying that there's a benefit to either one, or kind of you do you as long as you realize what you're doing and you're not doing something because you're friendless or desperate or whatever the case may be.
I think it's just sort of what each person in this relationship is accepting of. Like, you have to be tailored to each other's needs. So if other people, or if one person needs to be apart for a little bit to do their own thing, that the other person needs to accept that, and sort of needs to be a give and take type situation. And I feel like maybe early on, I know in our relationship early on, it felt like we were joined at the hip, but gradually it's sort of, we've not branched apart, but we accepting, like, when you go away or I go do other things, where in the beginning of the relationship all we wanted to do was just be with one another and just hang around together, do things together, even in each other's friend groups and things of that nature. But I think it's just over time it can change, and it's sort of how I think about when it comes to introvertedness or extrovertedness as well, where if you spend all the time indoors not talking to anyone, at a certain point you kind of feel the need to be extroverted. You want to talk to certain people, and then sometimes when you're talking too much, or you're constantly talking to people at work or things of that nature, you need that time to be to yourself if you're more introverted. I think it's like a give and take, like that, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I also feel like it would depend on the individual personalities of the two people in the couple, because if you have someone that's more extroverted and then someone who's an introvert, it might seem more natural where the extrovert is out socializing more and the introvert is more of a homebody, or just not hanging out as long or as often. But I feel like it's interesting because we're both introverts, so we have that in common, but our interests and personalities are different, where even if we are both feeling like we just want to be inside and not doing things in the loud, overwhelming world that we live in, we won't feel like we're still attached to the hip and doing everything, spending every moment of every day together, because you might be doing something that you're interested in, and I'll be doing something I'm interested in. So we still feel like we're together since we're cohabitating in the same home, if we're, staying inside. But we're not getting, I don't know. I never really am tired of being around you.
Aw. I feel the same way, my love.
But that's so cheesy.
Older couples are listening to this like that now are just like, wait 10 years.
But I mean, I can see how maybe you would go stir crazy if you're just inside together all the time, and then the more time you spend together alone, maybe you'll like start getting nitpicky about little things here and there because you're just bored. I'm not sure, but I can see how the balance would change as your needs change, as this says, because you even mentioned in the beginning it was different. But I'm also curious if that's more common, where in the beginning of a relationship you just want to spend every second together because you're still
it's new, it's exciting, it's
marriage is not exciting, folks.
In the air. No, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's everything
has a different feeling than
it feels more like I just feel safe when I'm with you.
No.
Whereas in the beginning, it's not like I didn't feel safe, but I didn't know where it was going necessarily, so I just felt like really excited, but also really nervous, like, oh, what if he realizes how weird I am and he doesn't want to be with me anymore, or something like that. So you're just constantly worried that, where is it going to go? Is this like my person or not? But yeah, I think it's different because then after a while of dating, you have that comfort where assuming it's going well, you have the comfort of knowing that you don't have to worry about, trying to impress them all the time or worry about hanging out all the time, because you have a respect and also a trust of your partner.
I'm very trusting of you that you don't think badly of me if I walk around in PJs all day.
No, likewise.
But I think to add on to a lot of these things, like if somebody's asking personally if they're feeling a certain way about their relationship and they're not getting enough from it, I feel like it leads to the question that I always have is if you're vocalizing enough or you're doing enough to satisfy your feelings towards it, and is your partner reciprocating that feeling? Because I know a lot of times when you get stir crazy, you're very vocal about what you wanting to go out, and I felt I'm the same way. I mean, it happened this past Saturday where I was very vocal that I needed to get out of the house, and it's not really we have to do anything special. It's more just I just want to get out and walk and do different things and things of that nature. Or like because I know sometimes if you're doing your thing over here, I'm pointing towards the couch and I'm sitting at the desk doing coding or something, trying to learn. If I feel like I need to get more attention or like just to be with you, I normally will put it down and do something really goofy just to get in your way. I'll probably just like hop over the couch and just stare like in your face.
Like you're a doggy.
Yeah, basically. Make my presence known, I guess you could say.
I mean, I do the same thing.
Exactly.
I'm not
we
sure
have our own ways of communicating.
Who's more obnoxious in that sense? I think I am. Because if I come over and sit on you, close your eyes, steal your phone,
play with my ears.
Honestly, I'm like a mix of a child and a dog sometimes, so very distracting. Not a child in the sense where you have to take care of me, but a child in the sense of I can be loud and random and goofy.
Well, you're not a child, but I still feel the need to take care of you. You are my wife.
I'm a strong, independent woman who graduated Flexus.
I'm sure you did.
Also, if you're listening and you don't know what Flexus is, I don't blame you.
Lucky you.
It's not a very common thing, but at my alma mater, University of Maryland, go Terps, the engineering school had these programs that were called living and learning programs. So they tried to have the first and second year college students female college students live together separately from the males that were in the engineering program. And this program involved taking, I think it was a 1-credit class each semester for your first 2 years. And the women's one was called Flexus, and it always felt like they were empowering us female engineers. So now whenever I'm sarcastically but half seriously talking about how I'm a strong, independent woman, I have to mention Flexus because I feel like Flexus is why I got there.
Is it though? Or
No,
is it
it's
just
not.
The fact that you're a strong woman? I feel like you don't need a class to be independent and strong.
I agree. I just joke. I don't know. It's funny to me. I always remember. This is so random, but I remembered I was going to a Flexus event. I think it was my sophomore year of college. And I think none of my friends in Flexus were going, but you could bring other people. Or maybe it was just a women in engineering event. I went with with Monique. I get to the sign-in table, and you write your name on your name tag. Monique was talking to the director of the Women in Engineering program, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my name's Monique, blah blah blah." And then on my name tag, I wrote Monique, and she was like, "Marta, what are you doing?"
You just wanted to be Monique for the day,
I guess. I don't know. That's such a random story, but I always remember it because it was so random and funny. Like, why am I writing someone's name, the wrong person's name down?
that happens to me all the time when I'm like listening to something, but I'm like texting or typing something out.
Yeah, I think it happens when you're either listening or, well, I guess listening to something and either typing or writing something else.
Yeah.
Because not always, but sometimes I notice if I'm texting and I hear something and then it, messes up with what you're thinking, and then I read my text and I'm like, this makes no sense. I think I've sent a few of those to you and some friends, and then I get like a, huh? And then I realize, wow, this was a serious conversation. I just totally messed it up with my nonsense. That's okay.
I remember, I think wasn't it Flexus, where you had to write a paper that was due by midnight, and you realized it at like 11 o'clock? At 11 o'clock at night, and you're just like, oh crap, I need to write this. And I'm just like, okay. I'm just laying in your dorm room just waiting for you, and you're sitting at the desk typing away for like the last hour. And I think, didn't you say like you ended up getting like 100 on the paper?
I think a lot of those assignments were a lot of self-reflection and also thinking about like career and engineering and being a woman and all that type of stuff. So it wasn't really quantitative engineering where we were doing calculations or any of that. It was more soft skills.
Maybe that's why I was never good at English. I'm not very good at being like subjective and not thinking out of the box, but like expanding on ideas.
I never liked the class of English because I like more the creative side, because you get to, obviously be creative and think about things that aren't necessarily reality. But English class always felt like there was a right answer because you had to find the theme and like, no, this isn't the theme. That's the theme. And then if you didn't know a certain vocabulary word, you're screwed because you don't understand the passage and you can't answer that question. And then, my high school, though, was a lot of it was focused on like writing papers and analytical thinking and all that. So I feel like I got better at English and writing. But then I went into engineering and I was like, I never want to do this again. Bye.
But then you had to write those. Did you really have to do much writing for your labs? For your chemical engineering labs? I feel like you had to put together.
We had to write papers for each set of experiments that we did, but the one I'm thinking about was mostly junior and senior year was when the chemical engineering labs and classes got really serious. But
this is bringing me back just thinking about all the classes types and labs. I was never good at labs for some reason. I could do the experiments and stuff, but I could never do like the follow-ups or like the tests that came with them for some reason. Just wasn't my thing.
But yeah, a lot of our labs were teamwork. So we would split up the
about teamwork.
Paper. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. See, connected on that 1-to-1.
Wow.
Because we defined that partnership. Look at me bringing it all the way back.
And you said you weren't good at English. This is what you do in English papers. You rant on, and then you tie it back to your first paragraph.
Isn't that basically what you have to do? Like you go more and more in depth, further along in in your paper, and then the last concluding paragraph, you like try to wrap it all up into one neat bow.
Oh my gosh, I don't miss that. I miss college because I liked the challenge of the engineering classes, But I just hated writing papers for the sake of writing papers in high school.
Now I think about like the papers that I have to write for whatever job I've done. Like a lot of them are just instruction manuals. Do this, step 1, and it's like not even a sentence, like a fragment of a sentence of like things you need to do. It's more step based than anything. From what I've had to do, like with mechanical engineering or systems engineering, it's very just bullet point. It's not like digging into why are we taking apart this valve? What is the meaning behind this? What is the purpose? And then explain to me how to do it.
Well, that's because it's more technical.
Yeah.
You're not writing an English paper, or you're not writing a paper about Shakespeare, writing it on.
But do you ever see those papers in the wild? Like
in the wild?
Like, think about
Just in the middle of the forest?
Like, you know, like, there's journalism where they're reporting on certain things and they're expanding on something. But is that like you thinking or expanding on a book, or I guess book reviews maybe? Like, I guess there's some English where expanding on ideas of reviewing like movies or video games. I guess that's sort of how those ideas are incorporated into those reviews, is that they're expanding on what's the themes that are in these mediums and explaining it to the masses.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking like the generic like English papers where you're reading The Great Gatsby and trying to expand the theme.
This is giving me like some high school PTSD right now.
Did you like The Great Gatsby?
I mean, compared to other books I read, yeah. I read some pretty, I don't even remember. Just horrible, boring.
For some reason, I always remember Touching Spirit Bear, just specifically for the name itself.
Never heard of it.
It was about a guy that's a bad person, goes into, I forget how he gets there, but gets in on the island, gets clawed up by some spirit magical bear, and then becomes like a better person.
Wow.
Yeah. If anybody wants to know, that's basically what happens, I think. Oh, Revenge of the Whale was a book that I hated in high school.
Never heard of it.
It's about Moby Dick, the white whale.
Mm-hmm.
Ahab going after Ishmael. I think that's another character. That was a bad book. I did not like it. Man, we are off the tracks completely.
This is partnership. Sometimes you just have to do what feels right.
Oh, look at you. You learned something in English class as well, my love.
I haven't really reflected on English or thought about it this much in a while.
I don't even know if our main topic's going to make it into the title of the show with how much we've branched off. It's going to be like National Nut Day.
That's funny. Talk about nuts.
Nuts. Flexus. Actually, those probably shouldn't go together in one. National Nut Day. Flexus. And English. Oh, and dividing partnerships in there as well. But I think it's, this stuff always comes back to communication. Just make sure you're communicating with your partner about his or her needs and wants, because it's always going to diverge. It's never going to be conjoined always. Just be accepting of what they need, what they want. If they want to be do something on their own, be accepting of it. Don't be upset by it. It's not against you. It's more of just realize it's not a slight against you if that person doesn't want to spend 100% of the time with you all the time. It's sort of just what they need personally to be a better person in the end.
Yeah.
Look at me. Wrapping it up in a nice bow. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Should I end it? Should I wrap it up? Do you have anything more? Any more stories you need to share with the masses, the hot listeners?
Nope.
All right.
I think I've gotten all my stories out. Well, that one radio one was the main story.
That was ridiculous.
I know. That's why I had to share.
I don't even I need to mention that in the title. I need to mention so many things in the title. We talked about
Title's just going to be a paragraph of its own.
Basically. That's how you get more probably people listening. Searching, popping up. There you go. All right, this has been episode 21 of Husband and Wife Talks. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate you all so much. Remember, you can find us basically anywhere. We are on iTunes. If you're listening to us on iTunes, though, please scroll down in the library and hit 5 stars for us. Giving us ratings will help us out so much. We've been stuck at 20 for the longest time, and I just want to get to 21 and maybe 22 in the future would be nice. We're everywhere. We're on Google Play, even though apparently Google Play podcasts are a little slow with releasing. We're on Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, all the different podcast apps. Just make sure you share us with your friends and family. That's how we'll grow and get into other people's lives so they can hear our beautiful speech during podcast. I don't know what I'm saying. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/ I don't know what the slash is, but it's Husband and Wife Talks. You can search it. You'll find it. The podcast is there. And hopefully sometime this week, Marta is going to be editing together the videos that she shot. She made, what did you make? Oh, apple cider was the first one that we shot, and then chocolate-covered pretzels was the second. The chocolate-covered pretzels were
delicious.
They were delicious, and it was a quicker video. Nutritionist, if you're out there listening to our podcast, we definitely did not eat those chocolate-covered pretzels. It was just for the masses to view. Why do I keep saying masses today? What is wrong with me? All right, this has been episode 21. Marta, say bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.